Welcome back to the channel. We're going over the Nasdaq 100, the SP 500, exactly what I'm looking at. Near the end of the video, I'll give you some trades that I'm looking at as well regarding how the market is moving and how I expect it's moving going into this week. Let's get right to it. Now, before we go any really further in the video, I do want to recommend you guys subscribing and liking the video because we're doing videos every single day on the market, giving you breakdowns on how we're moving as well, and then adjusting those plays into the next trading day so you're always up to date on the best movers every single day on the market. Now, when we get in here, the first thing we're going to look at is going to be the Nasdaq, and what I want to highlight here is something that we saw back in April. You saw in April whenever we kind of topped off from that March pump, if you will, from mid-March, from the overall initial reaction to Ukraine and Russia. You saw we popped up and then we started consolidating in this range right here. And this is going to be very eye-opening for a lot of people right here. You see how we held this same top 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Look at how we held it right here. Very similar type price action that you're seeing and that we just saw 1, 2, 3, 4 roughly, but you're making these lower highs, which is a lot weaker than what we saw over here. But nonetheless, over here, this was definitely a breakdown type of pattern, and you got it right here once again, except now you're breaking down quicker, harder, and it was less strong than this one right here. So it's looking very indicative of another potential big drop. Now, the thing is here is you had a lot bigger of a run here in comparison to right here, and you're already almost back down to those lows. For instance, right here, when you broke down, you still had the lows right here. You kind of broke down, chopped around that range, and then broke down again. Now, right here, as we're looking here, it's extremely concerning because you're coming down so quickly, and it's looking like you're going to be at those lows come Monday morning. Now, what's really going to give you a good visual of what's happening here is when we go to the S&P and look, because the S&P ultimately looks way weaker, in my opinion, and you're already right back down. You're about roughly 6 points away from your bottom or your previous bottom. And if we look going into about the 15-minute, going into the end of the day close from Friday, this is what was the most concerning, is when you're getting in here, you can see this push that you're getting to the upside, basically making a rounded bottom, which looked really good. You look like you might try to go fill the gap on Monday or something like that. You start pushing up, you get rejected right there at 394, and then boom, you're already making new lows to end the day. So that looked really weak right there. But I want to show you something that was very interesting and that was showing everyone in Discord, because this was the ultimate indicator that there was more downside. Now, what I'm showing you here is going to be Bookmap. I'm sorry you have to see some of the background stuff from Discord, but this was the liquidity zone from Bookmap. So you could see all this liquidity hanging on right there, and throughout the day it was holding you up, right? So when you go back to S&P and looking at how you were holding this range, this would be represented that there was all these orders waiting to be filled in this range. Now, what happened was about 12:30 right after lunch, as you started climbing back up, all those orders disappeared off the book. And this is why I was so bearish. It was because you were coming up and those were just all gone. Now, granted, you didn't have any liquidity above you. However, I was just alarmed by the disappearance of all those buyers, and that just made me extremely concerned, which indicated that you were going to get more downside pressure. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And then, of course, end of day, what happened? Boom, last 30 minutes, you came crashing back down almost 4 points. So looking into Monday, that's what I'm looking at. Now, the big thing regarding news, coming out Monday morning, this is when you talk about Monday, you don't really have much. Tuesday, you have PPI coming out, which is very big, very basically showing you what's happening from Target, Walmart, Costco, what's the price of their goods and how are they gonna have to start pricing things, right? And so if you do know, going into, I believe it was it March, April right here, we had the big beat right here, which is the first indication of inflation really getting out of hand. Break even, you came out as expected right here. Now we need to see what's going to happen here for May. CPI missed pretty bad, and that was pretty atrocious. Now going into Wednesday, this is your big decision. You got your retail sales, that's going to be very big. I assume retail sales are going to be fine. Your FOMC statement, huge. Projections, huge, and you get your interest rate decision as well, and press conference. All of those are very big things as well. And I think you have your OPEC data as well coming out for energy. So pretty big week in general. And if you want food for thought on how inflation is being handled, this is what's happening over the past 12 months. Gasoline up 48%, airfare 37%. These are just all the big things going on right now, and this is the concern. Funny to say, rental cars and IT hardware are actually going down, but yes, inflation is hitting very, very hard right now, and it's looking like it's going to keep getting hit going forward, especially with the way jobs are going right now. And the jobs numbers, if you haven't seen, aren't looking too sharp either. Coming back to the chart, I do want to look at a few stocks and what I see happening. Now, I've already given you my bullish outlook as well in the previous video, so make sure you go check that out if you have questions regarding that. Now, when it comes to looking at something like Tesla, I have to go and look back at previous lows and everything that happened back here. So I'm going to the 4-hour really quick, just showing you what happened. Now, going back into basically May 27th of last year, this is when you had your big drop on Tesla from locally 893 all the way down to that double bottom around 550. That's kind of my local bottom that I see hitting if you're going to have a breakdown of these lower lows right here. So these are your lows on this year right now, about 620 roughly. So as we zoom in here, that's what I'm looking at, is how are we going to respond to this area, because I definitely see us coming down. Another big thing here on Tesla was that you got rejected multiple times around the $700 level and those previous lows you had formed. So that's a very big concern in my opinion as well. You can see you got a little bit of a wick above it, but overall rejections after rejection. So we're looking for more downside, and you really want that confirmation of the break of 690 before you start jumping back into anything here. But that's what I was trading on Friday. Next up is going to be Amazon, and this is my just overall thesis on this trade in general, if you want to follow. Now, right now, you have the split. You pushed up, you hit around 129, and you've been crashing down since. Now, I had the overall target of around 116, but then obviously you started breaking on SPY, and that hit immediately. Then you came down to about 110, and now I'm looking for us to come and test 100. I think this is going to be a very significant level for Amazon, and it's around the double bottom region for there as well. Amazon does have room to go lower, but for right now, I'm just targeting this overall range right here. You can already see the flag that you have formed, and just continuation looks like it's going to be coming in on Monday, Tuesday morning as well. That's what I'm looking at. Now, I also want to mention before we go too much further into these stocks that looking at going into Tuesday and Wednesday, if we are pricing in a 75 BPS hike, I'm anticipating a bounce going into Wednesday, but I'll have you guys covered on Tuesday afternoon with how I'll be looking to trade that stuff as well. But looking here on Apple's already broken its higher low trend. You saw that break, and since then you've been just crashing down, and it's doing the same thing here. You can see the clear pattern you're forming here, the continuation back to the downside. So you are at that near double bottom. You can see the support that you do have in this region. You can see they have a little bit of stuff happening there. You have a little bit of support, but I'm looking for that double bottom again, 132, 133 coming in hot. Once you broke 140, it was really all downhill from there. You can see that retest right there, almost to 140, not quite, and then boom, rejected back down. My last one's probably going to be NVIDIA. This is just looking absolutely gorgeous. I mean, everything has the same pattern, but things are going to be a little bit different here. I'm looking for about a 164, 165 touch on the touch right here of its previous higher lows it was forming. That's what I'm looking for right there. And then I'm also going to be looking for a double top region, double bottom region of around 157. That's where I'm targeting. Now, overall, if we look at something like J&K, what's happening here with junk bonds? You're seeing it continue down. You're seeing it continue down there. Looking at TLT, continuation to the downside. Looking at US 10-year yields, you're just absolutely going crazy to the upside. So all these indicators are still pointing for more downside to me, and that we're just getting started on this third dip down to the downside. It's looking like more and more is coming, so that's what I'm looking at right now. And before I let you guys out of here, I want to point out Bitcoin as well. You can see you are breaking below this key bottom here as well, about 28, 29K. You're below it right now, and you did hit 26.9K, and now you're trying to get back in that range. So we're going to see if we're going to try to mount this to the end of the day, but if futures come out, Bitcoin will tumble as well. That's going to be it for me. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Have a good one, traders.